Okay, so hello.
Hello.
So, can you please first introduce your name?
So my full name is Lũy Bán Bích, but you can call me Minh.
Okay, so you're about to take the IELTS test?
Yes.
Yes, so what is your overall aim?
Originally I aim for band 9, but band 8. But yeah.
Okay, so now we'll take the IELTS speaking test.
Okay.
So first of all, I'm going to ask you a few questions in part 1. So the first topic will be on tea and coffee. Okay. So firstly, do people like tea and coffee nowadays?
Well, I always fancy coffee. So I consider all people around me, so they love too.
Okay, so when was the last time you had a cup of coffee or tea?
I reckon last time I had a cup of coffee was around last week. I went to Đà with my friends, so we have a cup of coffee to clear the cold ambience of Đà, you know.
Okay, so do you prefer to use tea or coffee to serve your guests?
I prefer coffee over tea all days.
Okay, so do you usually buy your coffee in a coffee shop?
I always buy coffee because I'm quite lazy to make me one, so yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you about concentration. Okay. So is it easy for you to concentrate on something?
Well, I think I don't have ADHD, so I think I'm quite easy on concentrating myself on an object.
Okay, so what do you do to improve your concentration?
Well, there's a lot of exercise to enhance your concentration on internet. So I do practice a few. So yeah.
Okay. Now a topic on musical instruments. So have you ever learned to play musical instrument?
Once I was around 8 years old, I asked my mom to took me to a musical class, so I learned guitar.
Okay.
But now I think I want to try some saxophone.
Okay. So do you think music education is important to children?
Well, as someone who have experience, I reckon that music on a macro level, I think is important because it trains your mind, it trains your patience, and you can do something when you're bored. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to give you a question of part 2. You will have 1 minute to prepare and then 2 minutes to answer the question. Okay. So here is the topic. Okay. I'll give you 1 minute. Okay. Now you have 2 minutes to answer the question.
Okay, so the rules that I'm about to mention is not something so significant, but I think it's so important that it can never be ignored at school. The rule is about you have to always to tuck your shirt in your pants. Well, first of all, when you break the rules, first you get a little disciplinary from your teachers, but when you do it twice or you ignore your teachers, you will have to write dictionary paper or something, and you might get your in Vietnam there's a score on your like kiểm something so you get demoted in that, and that's not good for your futures. And well, why do I talk about this? I might elaborate more on this. You have to show respect to your peers and your teacher by wearing appropriate, and that's when the rules come out. And I think though it's quite insignificant.
Okay, that's all?
I think that's all.
Yes, thank you very much. Now I'm going to ask you a few questions of part 3, okay? So, Okay. First of all, what rules should children follow at home in your country?
Well, every family in Vietnam, like everywhere in the world, they have some ground rules. So like you have to present at home before 10, or you have to do the dish, you have to remove the trash, I think so.
Okay, so what rules should people follow when using public transport?
So one thing I learned from Japanese is that their like disciplinary is very good. Like they always move in lines, and that's one thing that we have to learn from them. And that though it appear in our rules book like quite some time, but I think Vietnamese tend to like ignore it. But like my point is we have to emphasize on these rules.
Okay, so when people break rules, how should they be punished in your country?
I think the first time they do that, it can be a warning, like a paper, like do a fine, it's okay. But I think when they do it twice, it shows us that they appear to ignore the rules, and that's disrespectful, and it needs like a proper punishment.
Okay, thank you. That would be all. I would probably give you a 7 or a 6.5 because of the way that you pronounce the word, a little bit unclear. So if you want to improve your score, which means up it a notch by 7, so try to pronounce things more clearly and use more advanced grammar. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a little bit feedback so that you can improve your score when you take the real test. First of all, about your pronunciation. You have very good pronunciation. However, you should pay a little bit more attention to the listener. To be more specific, you should pronounce the word more clearly, like a little bit louder, so that it is easier to hear. Okay. So your pronunciation is good. The stress syllable is also good. So pay attention to the volume. Okay. Vocabulary, you have some very good vocabulary, sometimes with a little bit of misuse. For example, when you say pay a fine, you say do a fine. Okay. So say pay a fine. It is probably because you're not used to the topic or you're nervous. But when you take the real test, calm yourself a little bit, okay, and choose your word wisely. So about the grammar, you have a very good use of grammar with little mistakes. So if you want a higher score, remember to use more advanced technique. For example, conditional sentence, like if I have the chance, okay, something like that. In your answer would help improve your score a lot. Okay. And finally, about the coherence, which means the idea. I can tell that your idea for part 2 is a little bit unprepared. So before you take the test, it will be wise for you to learn the speaking forecast, have a brief idea of what they are going to ask you. It is not all, but it will prepare you for a wide variety of topics. Okay? So be prepared before you take the real test, and you'll be fine. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Yes, thank you very much.
IELTS Fighter, vì 1 triệu người Việt đạt 6.5 IELTS.